Thank you very much, Madam President Di Roberta, Minister, honorable members. It's now 70 years ago that Alcide de Gasperi said, "We don't just need peace among us, but to build a common defense, this is not to threaten or conquer, but to deter any attack from the outside driven by hatred against a united Europe. This is the task of our generation." End of quote. 70 years have gone by, but our generation is faced with the very same task, because peace in our union can no longer be taken for granted. We are facing a crisis of European security, but we know that it is in crises that Europe has always been built. So this is a moment for peace through strength. This is the moment for a common defense effort. And at the European Council, I saw a level of consensus on European defense which is not just unprecedented, but was completely unthinkable only a few weeks ago. There is a new understanding that we must think differently and act accordingly. We have started to mobilize Europe's massive resources, and in the coming weeks and months, more courage will be necessary, and other difficult choices await us. Honourable members, the European security order is being shaken, and so many of our illusions are being shattered. After the end of the Cold War, some believed that Russia could be integrated in Europe's economic and security architecture. Others hoped that we could rely indefinitely on America's full protection. And so we lowered our guard. We cut our defense spending from routinely averaging more than 3.5% to less than half of that. We thought we were enjoying a peace dividend, but in reality, we were just running a security deficit. The time of illusions is over now. Europe is called to take greater charge of its own defense, not in some distant future, but already today, not with incremental steps, but with the courage that the situation requires. We need a surge in European defense, and we need it now. We need it first and foremost because of the situation in Ukraine. There is the urgent need to fill the gaps in Ukraine's military supplies and to provide Ukraine with solid security guarantees. But this moment of reckoning isn't only about Ukraine. It is about all of Europe and our entire continent's security. Putin has proven time and again that he is a hostile neighbor. He cannot be trusted. He can only be deterred. And we know that Russia's military complex is outproducing ours. If we look at the military expenditure in real terms, the Kremlin is spending more than all of Europe combined. Europe's production is still on a lower order of magnitude. And beyond traditional capabilities, the range of threats that we face is getting broader by the day. I know that the European Parliament argued for years that Europe needs to do more, and you were absolutely right. And this is more dangerous today, the era we live in, so Europe really needs to step up. And this is the goal of the plan that I presented to leaders last week. Its logic is very simple. We want to pull every single financial lever we have to strengthen and fast-track our defense production. With the Rearmed Europe plan, we can mobilize up to 800 billion euros. So, honourable members, let me focus on some of the main features of this plan. First, there is the so-called national escape clause. And let me start why it is crucial to mobilize national budgets. Just if we look today, we spend just short of 2% on average of our GDP on defense. Every analysis today agrees that we need to move north of 3%. Now look at the entire European budget, it only reaches 1% of the GDP. So it's obvious that the bulk of new investments can only come from member states. And this is why we're activating the national escape clause, foreseen by our new fiscal rules. This is a new tool that was created just last year. And we propose to trigger it in a controlled, time-bound, and coordinated way for all member states. This can transform our defense budgets quickly and effectively. Member states could mobilize up to 650 billion euros over the next 4 years, adding round about 1.5% of GDP to their defense budgets over 4 years. This is massive. And yet, the European Council has tasked us to explore further measures to facilitate significant defense spending at national level while ensuring debt sustainability. The second point, the European Council has agreed on our proposal for a new financial instrument. We call it SAFE, Security Action for Europe. We offer member states up to 150 billion euros in loans to invest following a few basic principles. They could focus on a few selected strategic capability domains. You're familiar with them. It's advanced air defense, drones, missiles and ammunition, strategic enablers, military mobility, cyber, artificial intelligence, just to name a few, so that we maximize the impact of our investments. These loans should finance purchases from European producers to help boost our own defense industry. The contracts should be multi-annual to give the industry the predictability they need. And finally, there should be a focus on joint procurement because we've seen how powerful this can be. Just think of the Czech initiative or the Danish initiative to provide weapons and ammunition for Ukraine. One nation that takes the lead, others join in to place larger orders. Industry then can scale up and prices went down. It was both very quick and very effective. And this is exactly what we need right now, scale and speed. And this is why we have chosen the emergency procedure under Article 122, which is designed precisely for times when, and I quote, severe difficulties arise in the supply of certain products, end of quote. In other words, the 122 allows us to raise money, to lend it to member states, for them to invest in defense, and this is the only possibility for emergency financial assistance, and that is what we need now. We will keep the Parliament constantly updated on progress. And this leads me to my third point, the cohesion funds. This is a possibility that we are offering to member states. Member states will have the possibility to redirect some of their uncommitted funds to defense-related projects. This could be infrastructure, it could be research and development. This would be voluntary for those who want to go the extra mile. It will be up to Parliament and Council to decide on this additional option. And for the same reason, We Armed Europe also includes measures to mobilize private investment with the European Investment Bank and our upcoming Savings and Investment Union. Honourable members, all of this will also have positive spillovers for our economy and our competitiveness. It will include new factories and production lines that will be necessary. creating good jobs right here in Europe. The investment boost will be felt well beyond the defense sector. We know these spillover effects to both sides, be it from steel to space, large transport companies, or the innovative AI startups. Together we have the size to deter any hostile country. We have the economic power. And now finally, we also have the political will. We all wish we could live in more peaceful times, without any question. But I'm confident if we unleash our industrial power, we can restore deterrence against those who seek to harm us. It is a time to build a European Defence Union that ensures peace on our continent through unity and through strength. This is Europe's moment, and Europe will rise to it. Thank you very much, and long live Europe.